The new LEGO Dungeons & Dragons set just got revealed, and there are a ton of fun Easter eggs and things that I want to go over in this video, so let's get into it. These are 10 things that you probably missed in the new Dungeons & Dragons set. First up, we have some amazing new shield prints in the Displacer shield and the Beholder shield. Both of these are brand new to the set and they look fantastic. I definitely prefer the look of the Displacer shield. The yellow and orange color scheme just works great for the gnome fighter that's carrying it, and I love it. The Beholder one is on a round shield and is a very classy purple color scheme that looks great. I love that they included a couple of different shields in this set because it just adds in more customization options to the characters in the set. And that brings me on to the next cool thing in this set. Each minifigure comes with 2 separate heads, and it looks like you get a more masculine head and a more feminine head for each character, apart from the Dragonborn, which I guess makes sense. You can see on the Dwarf Cleric where we have a version of him in the tavern with a receding hairpiece and a beard, and another down in the dungeon defending herself from some skeletons with a different hairpiece. I don't think each minifigure comes with different hair, but the dwarf definitely does, which is a great touch. LEGO really never adds in 2 separate heads for each minifigure in a set, but it was such a smart decision to do this here. It allows for way more customization, which is always a plus, and it just makes sense here. I love that they did this. Another great addition for customization in this set is that the minifigures don't show any skin on the torso and legs, which means that you can swap their heads around as you'd like. So you could turn the Dragonborn into a rogue just by swapping the heads around, which is so nice. As someone who loves making custom minifigs and swapping around different parts, this makes me so happy to see LEGO embracing in a set. It's really something that they don't often do, so I am all for this. Seriously, this is probably my favorite bit of the set. I cannot believe that they did this. I need them to continue to do this with basically every set that they do now. Now, while we're on the topic of minifigs, I want to talk briefly about the new recolors in this set. We've got this helmet in flat silver for the first time, which I am very happy to see, and hopefully this part will make its way to Pick-a-Brick in the future, because it will be a godsend for us medieval army builders. We also have this shoulder armor in gold for the first time, which is also awesome to see, and probably the best new recolor is this cape. It's dual-sided with purple and white, and it looks really nice. It's placed on the skeleton for some reason, I'm not quite sure. I could totally see people using this cape and the new Beholder shield to make their own custom characters. Continuing with the new recolors, we have a brand new hair mold for the elf wizard. It's dual molded with a different color for the ears to match the skin and a different color for the hair. It looks really great, and I hope we see this piece come in even more color combinations in the future. The last recolor that I noticed was the Dragonborn's head. This piece first came out in the failed video theme and was one of the best parts from that theme. So I'm really glad that LEGO has kept this mold because it looks lovely as a Dragonborn. Okay, so minor spoilers for the rest of the set and I guess the campaign, but the Innkeeper is definitely the evil wizard, right? Every picture we see of the Innkeeper has sweat dripping down his face and he looks awfully suspicious. And they both share the same colored arms, so you know what? I think it's safe to say that the Innkeeper being the evil wizard is definitely the twist at the end of this campaign. Which brings me to the next amazing part of this set. There is a custom-made campaign that was written by the Wizards of the Coast team, and a digital download to it is included with the set. When I first heard about this set a while ago, I felt like it was a no-brainer for them to do this, and I am so glad that they did. It just makes perfect sense to include a campaign here, and it adds in way more value to the set for fans of Dungeons & Dragons that might not be big LEGO fans. So I imagine this will be a big draw for a lot of people. I'm personally not much of a D&D guy, so this isn't something that I'm necessarily interested in, but I know a lot of people will love this. Now, it would have been nice for them to include a physical version of this in the set, but what I've heard is that you will be able to purchase the campaign's physical book and the character sheets through lego.com after the set releases. Here's a look at what that physical campaign book will look like. Again, I think it's kind of crazy that this won't be included in the box. I mean, you're already paying $360 for this set, so it not being included feels pretty silly to me. But with all that being said, you should be able to buy this with VIP points separately online the same day that the set releases, but again, this should have come with the set. I'd love to hear what you all think about them not including this in the set, because I feel like if I was a big fan of D&D, this would be pretty annoying to me. You'll also notice that in this picture there is a mimic chest, which is actually the gift with purchase that will go with the set. It will only be available for the first week of its release, so if you're wanting to get this GWP, I'd recommend getting it as early as possible. But don't worry, if you aren't able to get the set right away, there will still be 2 mimic chests in the actual physical set. So don't rush out to buy this just to get a mimic, you will actually still get some in the actual set itself. But the GWP mimic does look really nice, so maybe you still want to get it early, I don't know. Now for the other monsters and creatures in this set, we actually have quite a lot. Let's take a look at the 5 main ones that you get first. Here we have the massive dragon named Cinderhowl, which looks fantastic and is fully brick built apart from the cloth wings. I saw quite a few people disappointed in this dragon, which is kind of crazy to me because this is probably the best looking bit of the whole set. The details on it are wonderful, and I especially love the use of the broom piece as a part of the horns. It looks really sick. The only flaw with the dragon that I noticed is that I kind of wish it had eyes, at least ones that are visible to me. Maybe it's just the angle, but the lack of eyes is throwing off a lot of people, myself included. Maybe once I have the set in hand, I'll feel differently about it, but for now, the eyes are a little weird. The beholder, though, is basically perfect. I cannot see a single person having an issue with this build. The randomness to the tentacles look great, and those, I hope, printed eyes are very sharp looking. There are quite a few stickers in this set, so I'm really hoping that these eyes are printed. I've seen a lot of beholder Lego mocks over the years, and this one honestly looks on par with the best custom ones that I've seen. Easily the most cohesive looking monster design in this whole set. The same cannot be said for the Displacer. This guy just didn't turn out right. The size of the build didn't allow for enough detail in my opinion, and it looks really undefined. This one definitely suffered from a lack of parts, and it just doesn't look very good to me. The owlbear, though, is a similar size, and it looks much better. The colors are just right, and he's very recognizable. The big bushy eyebrow things look nice, and those printed eyes do a lot in selling the design for me. I've seen better mocks of owlbears in the past, but this one is no slouch. I think people are really gonna love this owlbear build. Our last of the 5 main monsters is the gelatinous cube, which looks just as about you'd expect it to. There's nothing wrong with it, I think it just looks exactly how you'd expect it to, and it looks good, so no complaints here. We do have some other random creatures and monsters like these myconoids, I hope I'm saying that right, the mimic, and the previously mentioned skeletons. We also have some tentacles that are emerging out of the water, which is a really fun touch. There might be some other creatures that I just didn't notice, but I think that's pretty much all of the ones in the set. Since this set is meant to be played as a campaign, the entire build actually comes apart modularly, which I assume is a part of the way you're intended to play through the campaign. You can kind of get an idea of this through the promotional trailer that they released. As you move through the different sections, different events can happen, and it's got me really intrigued to see how they integrate the campaign story into the actual model itself. And even if you don't care about the campaign itself, you could totally display different sections of the set as you'd like. For example, if you want to display just this tower here, you could do that. Or you could combine a couple of different sections to display together and leave the other sections separate. I'm always in favor of more modularity in LEGO sets, so I think this is a massive plus. Oh, and of course it makes it a lot easier to move the set around when you have such a massive set like this one. Being able to take one section at a time to move around is much easier on a big set like this. You can also build the set with a group, as I think you get 4 separate instruction manuals for the different parts of the build. This is something that LEGO's been doing for a while now, but it makes a ton of sense for this set in particular. Okay, now we have a couple of little puns that we noticed in the set. Here we have the in plain sight sign on the ins sign. A very silly little pun, but I appreciate it nonetheless. It also has an eye of the beholder on it, which I think is a pretty cool touch. This is unfortunately a stickered element, so that's slightly disappointing for such an expensive set, but it's something that's becoming more and more common in these expensive LEGO sets. Another one that was noticed by Kava in the LEGO Castle Discord is this portrait of the Dragonborn family holding an egg. I don't think this one needs any further explanation, it's pretty self-explanatory. And finally, our last detail that I'd like to mention is it seems like there will be a couple of different traps in the set that I am almost 100% sure will be part of the playable campaign. The ones that I noticed were an axe trap at the base of the tower, a trap door, and maybe this skeleton here with a sword, but it's really impossible to say as of right now. I'm sure there will be a ton of others included in the actual campaign of the set that we just don't know right now. If there are any other Easter eggs or references that you found, please let me know in the comments below. I am so excited for this set now that I've made a video on it, and I cannot wait to see what the set looks like in person. I think the future of the Dungeons & Dragons LEGO theme is very bright. If you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? I'm trying to hit 20K by the end of May, and it would mean a lot if you did. And as always, thank you so much for watching.